Modern women tutorials. It's not too late. Right? The infamous wall. Essentially 30 years old, right? So once you hit 30, most guys out there tend to find you less attractive, right? Which is stupid considering the fact that it's not like you lost your attractiveness. You know, Salma Hayek is in her 50s or 60s, right? If I'm right, 60s, and she's still hot, right? So 30 doesn't automatically make you less hot. What it does, however, is make a lot of assholes that you probably messed with in your 20s not want you anymore, and then it makes a lot of losers who you ignored in your 20s think they're too good for you now. Think you don't deserve them, even though they wanted you. The same as the assholes you did mess with wanted you for the same reason, just sex. It's funny how a lot of guys try to like virtue signal, right? Try to act like, you know, they're a decent human being or something. It's like, nah. If you had the opportunity to be a fuckboy, you would be a fuckboy. If you had the opportunity to mess around with these ladies when they were in their 20s and not marry them, not, you know, be loyal to them, and just mess around with a whole bunch of chicks, you would. A lot of you guys are hypocrites. A lot of you guys would take advantage of it. Why not? It's like if somebody gave you access to a bank, to like a bank vault, and be like, hey, do what you want and walk away. What you're gonna do? Close the vault? No, you're gonna go in there and grab as much money as possible, because that's the type of person you are. That's the real you. That's how you see who somebody really is. You give them a temptation. You give them an opportunity to do something, and see if they'll do it. Somebody with integrity will close the vault. Somebody with no integrity will go in there and just start lining their pockets with all this money. Right? That's the difference. So it's funny how a lot of guys will be like, oh no, I wouldn't date a chick over 30 because she's been with too many dudes and blah, blah, all this nonsense. It's like, you don't know that. I've met plenty of chicks who are introverts, who keep to themselves, or they just grew up, you know, with a type of parents sometimes, right? But mostly just a parent who didn't let them go out much, so they didn't have the opportunity, you know, to be for the streets. But you got all these losers out here thinking like, oh, if she's 30, she's definitely for the streets. No, you don't know that. You need to get to know her. Then if she blatantly makes it obvious she's for the streets, okay, then that's a different story. But this pre-assumption that, oh, she hits 30, she's no longer useful. Useful for what? What were you talking about she's not useful for? A relationship. Do you want relationships? No, not really. Okay, so then she's still useful for what you really want her for, which is sex. Women over 30 is still fuckable. Like, what's this weird idea of, oh no, she's 30, she's not, she's past her prime. Prime for what? What prime? What's the prime that she's? What is the super awesome ability that she has in her 20s that she doesn't have in her 30s or 40s or 50s that you're claiming that she no longer has? You're acting like her vagina disappears when she hits 30 or something, or she's less good in bed when she hits 30 or something. Like, what's this weird idea that once a woman hits 30, she's no longer, you know, sexy or desirable? That's false. Now, I do agree, however, that biologically, because of science, right, because of reproducing, if you want to make babies, yeah, a woman over 30 is not ideal for baby making. But if you're the type of guy that don't want kids anyway, then a woman over 30 is perfect. You don't want a 20-year-old because the likelihood of you getting her pregnant is higher than a 30 plus year old, right? Plus, a 30-year-old is going to be more responsible. They're going to make sure you put on a condom, right? While a 20-year-old is going to be more irresponsible. So the likelihood of you knocking up a 20-year-old that you don't want to knock up is a lot higher than if you were fucking a 30-year-old. right? So this ridiculousness of like, nah, she has to be in her prime. For who? Because I remember the whole idea of like a woman in her 20s, should get the best man she can get. Was the whole idea of getting a guy, ideally, a guy who makes 6 figures plus because he can afford children. That was the whole idea. It wasn't, just any guy who has a 9 to 5 average guy should be getting a chick in her 20s. Like, no. Too many of you losers out here trying to be like, I'm old, I got money, I deserve 20-year-olds. No, you don't. No, the fuck you don't. Unless you're trying to get married, no, you don't deserve a 20-year-old. So this is nonsense to be even talking about 20-year-olds or young females as if that makes sense. It's like, if all you want to do is fuck, there's plenty of 30-plus-year-olds you can fuck. And their vagina is as good at 30 as it was in 20. Yeah, this weird idea to assume that, a 20-year-old sexually is better than a 30-year-old. No, it's not. That 10-year difference ain't that much of a difference. It will take 30-plus years for it to be a difference. But even then, it's not that big of a deal. Because most of you guys don't get laid like that anyway, so y'all wouldn't know the difference between a 50-year-old pussy and a 20-year-old pussy. You wouldn't know the difference. Right? Most of you guys don't even have it like that down there in your pants to even be thinking that you qualify for most of these ladies in their 20s or even above 30. Most of y'all not that guy. And then that's the ridiculousness. Thinking you deserve a chick in her 20s when you're not that guy that chicks in their 20s actually want. You're going to be used the same by the 20-year-olds as you're going to be used. The same thing you think, these 30-year-olds are going to use me for money, blah, blah, blah. 20-year-olds use you for the same thing. They use you for the same thing. That's the whole point. Right? So you're going to be used regardless. Just like y'all trying to use them for sex, they're trying to use you for money. It's nothing new. That's just the way it is. So that's why it's smart for the ladies, when they have the advantage. Yes, over 30, you're going to lose options. You're going to have less options because you're going to have a lot of these dorks, weirdos, losers, assholes. They're going to be like, if you're 30, I'm not interested. That's what you start reducing. It's good to lose. Trust me, when you hit 30, it's not bad because immediately a lot of the assholes are not going to be chasing you. They're not going to be trying to get in your pants. So that right there reduces you making the mistake of being with a loser, right? An asshole, a piece of shit. So that's good that the piece of shits don't want you no more when you hit 30. And then the guys who think they're too good for you because they're too good of a good man. Like you're not a good man if you're immediately like, she's 30. She's not good enough for me. Like, not good enough for you. If you're a good man, any woman's good enough for you because you're a good man, right? Remember, you're the prize. You're valuable to her, not the other way around. She's not supposed to be valuable to you. Like you're supposed to be like, she's amazing. I gotta put her on a pedestal. I gotta chase her. She's more important than me. Like, no, you're supposed to build yourself up and be valuable. So that way, when a woman sees you, it's like, I want him. Like, so does every other one. So get in line. Now I'll interview you one by one until find the one that matches me, right? And go from there. If you're actually looking for a relationship, you just want to fuck, then you'll have a list of ladies to fuck, obviously. But that's the thing. That's how it is for guys. It's like, the more you improve yourself, the more options you'll have. Right? You'll have older women wanting you, younger women wanting you, right? Women your age wanting you. But for the ladies, the older you get, the less assholes want you. That's first and foremost, which is a good thing. That's actually a positive, not a negative. But unfortunately, especially with these podcasts and all these idiots out there trying to promote the idea that, the good quality dudes, the good guys, shouldn't want you either. It's like, whoa. I agree that these ladies should not have messed around with a whole bunch of, fuckboys and douchebags and pieces of shit in their 20s, and they should have paid attention to the good guys in their 20s. But it's kind of ridiculous that the good guys, the guys who like to claim themselves as good, have the audacity to be like, oh no, I don't want her now. Not after she's already been with all those other guys and she didn't choose me back then. Now I don't want her now. It's like, then you truly never wanted her if you don't want her now, because then it was never about her, right? Never about her as a person. It's not like you're like, oh, finally you realize your mistakes. Finally you realize that those guys were pieces of shit. So now I'm the guy that you should have been with this whole time, you know? So hopefully now you'll appreciate me more than before, right? That's the way it should be. Unfortunately, you got a lot of the guys who be like, oh, I'm a good guy, are out here trying to be like, oh, no, I'm too good of a guy for these females. And then they just try to look at every chick who's in their 30s as bad, or 30 plus as bad. But any chick in their 20s, they're good. They still have options, but an opportunity. They're in their prime. It's like, yeah, they're in their prime to ignore you, dumbass. They're going to ignore you the same way you already was ignored. The thing is, if you couldn't pull 20-year-olds when you were in your 20s, you're not pulling 20-year-olds when you're over 20. Like, unless you actually improved yourself, which most of the guys never do. But that's that. Kind of getting a little off topic because I'm kind of acting like I'm talking to guys and they're, should improve themselves. Obviously, I'm talking to you ladies about that. It's not too late for y'all to get your shit together. The sooner the better. Like, I like when I hear a chick that's like 20 something, like 25, 28 or something like that, or even 35, be like, oh man, I realized my mistake, blah blah blah. I wanna fix it. It's like, all right, better late than never, right? As they say. So I would prefer that y'all in your 20s y'all come to that realization, of making better decisions. I'm not saying you can't have your fun, one year, hot girl summer, enjoy, your 20s. What I'm saying is it's always a good idea to logically be like, all right, I gotta make sure I have my future planned out. Like, make sure that I have everything I want. Make sure that when I do want, a husband, a good man, that I already vetted and picked a good man before that, right? Or a couple of them, right? Make sure you have more than one, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Have multiple good quality dudes who you kept in touch with, who you were nice to, you respected, this, that, there, right? But you were like, oh yeah, I'm trying to be, I'm trying to do career, this, that, there, right? You know how it is. Most of you ladies do that already. But a lot of y'all don't. A lot of y'all just be like, nope, ignore all the good guys and just mess with the fuckboys. And then when you're in your 30s plus, then you regret it. Then you're like, oh damn, now I gotta go get me a good guy. And it's like, but all the good guys you ignored and didn't give any time, attention, or hand job release, now they're gone. They're already been scooped up by other chicks who are smart enough to, like I said, give them a hand job to keep them close by, keep them in their friend zone, right? In their friends list. I meant to say friends list. Keep them on their Instagram, like in their posts and stuff like that, right? So that way when the time comes, slide into his DM and say, hey, how you doing? And one thing leads to another, right? I believe that and anybody can improve. That's the thing. Anybody can change their life at any point in their life. It's just the longer you wait, the older you are, the less time you have to enjoy the changes in your life. But that's why the sooner the better. That's why this annoying thing like, oh, she's 30, she's gonna buy a dog down on you. Acting like as soon as a female turns 30, she immediately is 60 years old with a cat and miserable and regretting life, and now she's gonna die soon. Like, no, she's not on her deathbed when she is 30. She still has 30 years to make up for the first 30 years, right? So she's gonna learn for her first 30 years and try to live her next 30 years better, right? Make better decisions. She's going to have to make deals. Yes, she's not going to get the best guy, the hottest guy, the richest guy. Of course not. Those options were in her 20s. Of course, when she's 30 plus, she's not going to have those same options. Can she get lucky? Yes, it's possible. It is possible for you to get your dream guy. Yes. But is it likely? No. Realistically, it's not likely. But here's the thing. I've always put out the idea that like your dream guy isn't the guy you think is your dream guy. Your dream guy is the guy you ultimately end up with. And it's like, you know what? This guy is my dream guy. This guy is perfect. Love him with all my heart. He loves me. He's like, yeah, the guy that, you ignored for so many years was your dream guy. You just didn't realize he was because you were too busy with a fantasy. You were too busy with an idea of what your dream guy should be, not realizing your dream guy was always there. Right? That's the thing. Your dream guy has to actually exist, right? Your dream guy has to be the dream guy. So for you to think you know what the dream guy is supposed to look like is false. It's the same thing when ladies, be like, oh, a real man does this, a real man does that. It's like, no. Once you meet the real man, you will know what a real man does, what a real man thinks and says and lives. Once you meet a real man, you'll be like, oh, that's a real man. Because that's totally different from every other guy I've ever met. Exactly. That's the point. A real man will be so different from any other guy you met. I mean, there's similarities. Don't get me wrong. Every guy wants to fuck. So a real man's not going to be like, oh, I love you. I don't want to fuck you. Like, no, a real man's still going to want to fuck you. But yes, he will love you. He'll love you and fuck you, right? He'll make love to you. Instead of just fucking you, he'll make love to you, right? That would be the difference. Because on average, guys would just be like, all right, just lay there until I bust a nut, right? It's just fucking. But if a guy wants to, take you on a trip somewhere, or just somewhere special, or just try to create a special situation, and starts trying to be romantic and stuff, then it's like, okay, he's trying to make love to you. He's not just trying to hit it and quit it, right? That's the differences, right? And that's the importance. Is look for the difference. Most of you ladies tend to pick the same guy over and over again and regret it until you finally end up with the guy who's totally different from all those other guys. Then you're happy. I mean, think about how many ladies are constantly dating tall guys, and then eventually they're just like, I hate tall guys. Tall guys ain't shit. Blah, 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 blah. They cheat. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, they tend to. Especially when tons of chicks want tall guys. Yeah, tall guys tend to cheat because of that. Because females are opening their legs to those guys all the time. So, duh. Once you get a short guy, it's like, oh, yeah, my short king. Like, yeah. Because not many females are opening up their legs to short guys. So, you're going to get yourself a good guy who just so happens to be short. Right? Because, again, it's about his choices. You got to understand that a guy who's loyal is going to be loyal because he doesn't have the option typically to be disloyal in the first place. His life has told him he needs to be loyal by denying him opportunities to be disloyal, right? But of course, there's some guys who, have a lot of opportunities to be disloyal, but they have integrity, especially if they were raised right, to turn down these temptations, turn down these opportunities to be disloyal. It's just like the whole bank situation, right? It's like if somebody was like, hey, walk away with the bank door open, I'm like, well, none of this money is mine, and personally, I don't care for money anyway, so close the vault and walk away, right? Plus, me being me, I'm like, oh, this is probably a setup anyway. I'm like, I don't know, this seems very suspicious. I'm leaving. Not gonna set me up for anything. I'm not gonna be the fall guy, right? That type of mindset. But anyway, the point is like, I have the integrity to turn down an opportunity like that. Most guys can't. I mean, you gotta understand. I've turned down plenty of sexual opportunities. Plenty. Way too many. I should say yes to a couple, but that's besides the point. The thing is that, just because I have the option doesn't mean I have to exercise, right? Just because I could do it doesn't mean I have to do it. That's the thing. This is why a lot of guys fuck up. I always give guys advice. It's like, hey, if you want to be with multiple women, let the women you're dealing with know that that's what you want to do. And if they're okay with it, then there you go. It works out, right? Win-win situation. But they always want to have the cake and eat it too. I don't want her to know that, there's other women. I want her to think that she's the only one, but in reality, she's not the only one. So it's like, why lie, right? Why be a piece of shit? Why not be upfront with, who you are, right? If you want to be that guy, being with multiple women, then just be that guy. Be upfront with it. I mean, the irony of my openness with, I'm popular with the ladies, so I don't, keep myself to just one chick, right? I'll date as many chicks that is interested, and they're aware of it. They know this, and they don't seem to have a problem with it. I mean, if they do, obviously they could tell me about it. We'll work on something. More likely, probably not going to be with me in that situation, because I'm not interested at the current moment to be with just one woman. But if I change my mind, of course, that is always possible. Find the one woman to rule them all, then settle down with one. But right now, I don't have to, right? And like I said, the ladies don't have a problem with it. They're the ones who created the scenario in the first place, right? I'm just letting it be known that, hey, I like this scenario. I like this situation. I like that multiple ladies like me. And I'm open with it. I'm not gonna pretend that like, oh no, I'm a one-woman man. I can be, but I could also be a multiple-woman man. Obviously, right? But that's the thing. At least I'm honest about it. So if ladies have a problem with it, that is fine. They're totally in the right to have a problem with it, right? To each their own. But at least I'm not denying it, right? Like a lot of guys out there are, which is why a lot of the guys are failing at life. I don't fail at life. I win, which is why I give advice for guys to get their shit together. Just like I give ladies advice, it's like, y'all still have time to get your shit together. I'm hoping that you're seeing this and hearing this before you're 30. So that way you can, get your shit together and plan for when you are in your 30s and your option starts drying up, as they say, right? Of quality guys. All I'm saying is just make sure you have some quality guys in your life. Don't just chase the bad boys or the fuck boys, right? The good looking guys. Get yourself a couple alright looking guys who look okay. Or at least if they got a makeover, they will look hot, right? I give this advice to guys too. Like, you don't need to get yourself a chick who's, like an Instagram model or something who's hot, right? That you perceive as hot. Get yourself an ugly chick, right? Get yourself a chick that, put on a dress, put on a little bit of makeup on her, and she'll look better. Build her up. If she's overweight, that's fine. Pay for a gym membership and get her in shape. It's not difficult. Money can solve a lot of problems. If you like thin women, then pay for them to get thin. They wouldn't mind, because they're getting benefits from it, especially if you're paying for the gym membership, right? And you're paying for their flights and paying for this and that. Like, they're gonna do it. The thing is, a lot of these ladies who don't have these opportunities to like be flown around the world and be treated like a princess or queen or whatever, or treated good, they would love it if a guy did put in effort to get them at that level. There's some ladies out here who aren't, getting those, IG model treatment. You could be the guy who gives her that. Give her the treatment that she didn't have before, right? Logically. And the same goes for the ladies, right? Same goes for you ladies. If you want a good quality dude, then get yourself a fixer-upper, right? Get yourself a guy that you can turn into an awesome dude. And I've seen this. It's not like it can't happen. It's not like this is a hypothetical or theoretical idea or like a new idea. Women been doing this for years. Women been building up guys for years. You know, this was something women of the past used to do. You know, they look for guys who have decent genetics, right? Good enough genetics, and make it work. You know, you'd be surprised, you know, if you take a guy out of wearing t-shirts and hoodies and put t-shirts and jeans, and put him into a suit, he becomes desirable. Women want him, but you got him. He's yours, and you can make him into the best guy ever. Cause that's the funny thing is, a lot of you ladies, y'all tend to pick guys based off of how they dress anyway, like how they dress, how they act. You can get a regular dude and dress him up that way. Most of y'all ladies have jobs. Most of y'all have jobs. Y'all can literally afford to buy a guy clothes. Like, hey, I want to take you shopping. Buy him some clothes that you prefer, clothes that makes him desirable, and boom, now he's desirable. Now he's your type, right? He looks the way you like him to look. If you want him to look like a fuckboy, to yourself. You want to make him look like a drug dealer, all right, whatever. If that's your type, that's your type. The point is, you can build a boo, basically, right? You could build your dream guy, just like we can build our dream girl, right? You just gotta put in the effort. I'd rather build somebody than to try to find somebody, because it's hard to find somebody, especially if they're moving around or being chased by other people. It's gonna be hard to find what I'm looking for when I could just build what I'm looking for. It's like, you know what? You're cute, and I like skirts. So here, I'm gonna buy you some skirts. Bang! You're cute. You're in skirts. There, you're my dream girl. Simple as that. I don't gotta go try to find the perfect girl. I don't have to, perfect woman. It's like, oh, there's the perfect woman who is already wearing skirts already. But no, I could just find a pretty chick, or at least pretty enough chick, right? Put a skirt on her, like, boom, there. You're the perfect girl, right? Perfect woman, right? Simple. Another video.